Hey you guys, it's your girl T. So I want to come on here and talk about the whole Nick Gordon, Dr. Phil interview / intervention that went down today. So unless you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you guys have all heard by now that Dr. Phil was planning on interviewing Nick Gordon about the whole Bobby Christina situation and with her landing in the hospital. So today on Twitter, Nick Gordon intervention was trending #1 on Twitter. Everybody was talking about it. Folks were shocked at what they were seeing. Now, me personally, I've never really heard Nick Gordon's speaking voice, but he almost sounded cartoonish. And it was so crazy because when they kept doing the flashbacks, when Bobby Christina and Nick Gordon were on the Houston show, his voice sounded a little bit deeper. He sounded a lot more, normal. But on this Dr. Phil show, he sounded really animated. His voice just sounded really, really weird. He was clearly high out his mind. Folks online were shocked. Everybody was saying the same thing on Twitter. I want you guys to go ahead and check out these comments and these memes, and I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary. So you guys just saw all the comments and all the memes. And like I said, folks had so much to say. To me, in my personal opinion, I was really, really disappointed. The whole thing just seemed real exploitative to me of Dr. Phil to do this. We all know that Dr. Phil and many other people are good for exploiting situations. But to me, this was just ridiculous. First of all, his mother, Michelle, where did she come from? Okay, so Nick Gordon has been living with his family, with the Houstons, since he was 18. Supposedly, Michelle kicked him out the house. But now, all of a sudden, she's there to be on this intervention with Dr. Phil. My thing is, if that's your child and you really care about your child's well-being, why even put this on television? Why get paid to put this on TV? Why get paid to exploit him? The whole situation is just insane to me. And I want to say this first and foremost. I think the 2015 Oscars needs to go to Nick Gordon's ass, because to me, everything about him was fake as hell. Now, before I saw this interview, I did kind of feel bad for Nick Gordon. I thought, he was just a really sad, distraught husband. But it seems like everything that Bobby Brown is saying about this dude is starting to come to pass. And the way he behaved on this show, I definitely agree with Bobby Brown for not wanting Nick Gordon to be down there at all by Bobby Christina. My thing is, when you looked at his eyes, I loved how the camera kept focusing in on his eyes. His eyes look dead and dark. I didn't even see a pupil at all. Usually when you're crying, your face is going to be wet. There's going to be tears. How is he making all these sounds? How is he doing all this groaning and moaning and pretending to cry, but yet and still his face was not wet? Not one tear rolled down his cheeks. I can think about some sad shit that happened years ago, and my eyes will start watering up. How the hell are your eyes not watering up when your so-called wife is laying up in the hospital, potentially dead? Because right now we don't know what's going on with Bobby Christina. This whole situation to me is just sick. And another thing that I find really, really disturbing that I didn't know before this is that Nick Gordon was there when Whitney Houston died as well. So I just find this situation is really, really strange that two people, one is dead and one, we don't know what's going on with Bobby Christina, but two people kind of met the same fate in the same way, and the same person was there. How ironic is that? So he was there when Whitney Houston drowned in the bathtub, or so-called drowned, and then he was also there when everything went down with Bobby Christina. Something ain't clean in the buttermilk. And if I was Bobby Brown, I would continue to petition the courts to keep Nick Gordon away from Bobby Christina, because this whole interview did not help him at all. This man sounded lethargic. He sounded delusional. He came off to me as a sociopath. You know what I'm saying? All this to me was acting. I didn't get anything sincere when I watched him. The whole time I was watching him, I was just sitting there looking like this. Like, okay, keep on, Nick, keep on. You know, all he's doing to me is just digging a bigger grave for himself. I mean, this whole situation to me was just sickening to watch this from start to finish. And I love when he was trying to explain what kind of led up to the whole event of her, you know, ending up in that bathtub. And if you guys notice, at first he's talking about how they had an argument, and then all of a sudden he switches back into crazy mode, and he starts crying about how he misses, you know, Chrissy, and he misses Whitney, he doesn't want to talk anymore. And then he gets up and leaves for the 100th time. This dude was getting on my damn nerves by getting up, sitting down, moving here, moving there, leaving, screaming, crying. It's like he had no type of self-control whatsoever. But I think what truly happened is that him and Bobby Christina were both high out their mind, drunk out their mind, and that they did indeed get into an argument, and it went too far. I think Nick may have went off on her, snapped on her, put his hands on her, and basically, you know, he might have threw her in the bathtub. Who knows? Definitely feel like after this interview, I do feel like Nick Gordon played a hand in what's going on with Bobby Christina. This whole situation was just nuts. The interview to me was just disgusting, and like I said, it was definitely exploitive. But I not only blame Dr. Phil, I also blame Nick Gordon's mother for even allowing her son to come on this show. I'll never let anybody exploit my son in that manner in which that she allowed her son to be exploited. It's clearly obvious that Nick Gordon is not in his right mind. There's something seriously disturbed with that young man, and he needs all types of help. Not just drug rehabilitation, but he needs psychiatric help, mental health. He's going through a lot of issues right now. So instead of dragging him in front of the televisions, he needs to be in rehab somewhere getting all the treatment that he needs. Because that display, what I saw on that show, was just utterly damn disgusting. So anyways, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this entire situation. If you guys have not watched the Nick Gordon intervention, you guys can click the link down below. Check it out. Go ahead, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Do you believe what Nick Gordon was saying, or do you feel like he's just playing a role and that he's just pretending to be crazy? And how do you feel about his mother, Michelle, and Dr. Phil basically exploiting this entire situation for their benefit? So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. All right, deuces.